Welcome to Find Myself Free, the podcast. I'm Ellie Young, alcohol-free life coach, mom, and athlete. I'm dedicated to helping others change their relationship to alcohol by sharing my journey of transformation. Fascinated by my own capacity for change after decades of gray area drinking, I'm passionate about sharing what I've learned from neuroscience and positive psychology to help you break free from the drinking cycle and unlock your true potential. Hear my personal stories of triumph and struggle as I navigate raising two boys, finding myself after 40, building a business, and doing it all alcohol free. From women's health and cycle syncing to fasting and biohacking, this podcast is your roadmap to a healthier, purpose filled life that starts with changing your relationship to alcohol. It's time to embrace change, find balance, and create the life you were meant for. Welcome to Find Myself Free. Hi, if you're new to my podcast, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. And before we get to the show, I wanted to personally invite you to my Balance Challenge that is starting May 3rd. This is a 28-day challenge to learn the art of cycle syncing to balance your hormones. After getting alcohol free, I found cycle syncing, which is basically supporting the ebb and flow of your hormones with nutrition, exercise, and lifestyle. I found this to be a North Star in my healing, as it put me back in touch with my body and brain and allowed me to feel better in my 40s than I ever did in my 30s. As a woman who wants to empower other women to go alcohol free, balance their hormones, and heal years of cellular damage, I created this challenge to share the top strategies I've learned over the last 3 years that have me feeling mentally and physically better than ever. At 43, no joke. I wish I had learned this sooner. So if your interest is piqued, share this with a friend and go to findmyselffree.com and sign up for the Balance Challenge together. There is strength in numbers, and who doesn't want to balance their hormones, right? It's only the single biggest thing impacting your health in your 40s. Oh, and it's only $28 for 28 days. So you have absolutely nothing to lose and everything to gain. Share this with a friend, and I can't wait to meet you there. Now, on to the show. Hello, and welcome back to Find Myself Free. I'm your host, Ellie Young, and I am back. I have been gone for 2 weeks almost on spring break with my family, and I also went on a women's alcohol-free expansion retreat. So if you've been following me online, maybe you got to see some of the pictures of me in Costa Rica on this completely transformative trip. And that's what I'm going to be talking about today because I have come back a changed person. I anticipated this. I knew going into this that that's really what I wanted out of this. I really wanted to kind of break out of my routine and get out from my responsibilities and my normal day to day and just expand and nourish myself. So those were my two words of 2024 is to expand and nourish. And this opportunity landed in my lap, quite literally. My family was already planning to go to Costa Rica for spring break when I learned about this retreat also happening in Costa Rica at the exact same time. And I was able to hop on a little plane mid spring break and go join this retreat. Now, at the time when I booked this, it sounded amazing and it sounded perfect. And I was like, wow, this is incredible. But when the time came for me to leave my family mid spring break, it was a Wednesday. I really had reservations. I thought, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I'm already here in paradise with my family. We're having a beautiful time. Why would I leave? Why would I leave them? And it felt very selfish. It felt like, oh, I'm heading out onto this thing by myself. I'm leaving my husband with the kids, although he was, having a great time with them. And, they're of an age now, they're 10 and 12. So it's definitely a lot easier to handle them on vacation, obviously. But I also hadn't considered that, he was going to have to go home, although I was only missing 1 day of vacation with them. Once he got home, he was going to have to do Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I didn't get back till Wednesday morning. So it was like all the sports on the weekends. We had multiple soccer games and football games and getting them to school and work his full-time job. So it was a lot to ask of him, and I hadn't thought through all of that. I was just like, "It's all gonna work out," and it did, but definitely all that guilt hit me, as I was preparing to leave them mid-trip, and, you know, I got to the retreat and I literally met a bunch of strangers. I only knew one woman on the retreat, and this was my business coach who actually hosted this retreat. And part of me wanting to go was and be a participant was that I also want to learn how to host retreats because it's part of my vision for what I see for myself in the next 5 years here. Is I want to be able to host my own retreat. So I was learning and I was participating. And all the feels that first night, we get to this incredible place in the jungle. It was near a town called Capos, if you're familiar with Costa Rica. So it's deep in the jungly part of Costa Rica. It was up a mountain, and we arrive, and it's just magical. And everything you can imagine about the jungle, just peaceful and all the jungle sounds, and we stayed in these really cool domes. Um, and there was like beautiful open air palapas where we dined every night, and open air yoga loft, and these beautiful kind of Indonesian style or Balinesian bath like pool houses. Everything was just remarkable and beautiful. And the first night we did like an icebreaker, what I would call the equivalent of an icebreaker, where we walked in circles and kind of like musical chairs. And when the music stopped, we had to face one another, whoever you locked eyes with first, and just stare into each other's eyes for like a minute, I would say, and don't say a single word. Um, and I, got the giggles at first, and then I just cried, and I don't even know where that emotion came from. I mean, I think I was still conflicted over having left my family, and but I was just so overcome with emotion and feeling so exposed and so vulnerable and um doubtful, and it was like every every fear-based emotion kind of came up for me in that moment, and I stared into the eyes of several different beautiful women because we did it several times, and all of them, as much as I wanted to feel like an experienced alcohol-free person, here I am a coach on this retreat, and most of the other women there were newly alcohol-free. I They were holding me. They were holding space for me. They were, um, just holding me with their gaze in, like, these loving eye embraces, and I was the one who needed to be, like, comforted, and I was not expecting that. I am not a crier. I'm an emotional person. I think I'm a deeply feeling person, especially compared to my husband. He's always like, "Wow, the depth of your emotion compared to mine is, like, profound." But I'm not necessarily a crier. Um, and I'm not trying to say that in a prideful way. I'm just so second guessing myself on everything now because I'm just like, why am I not a crier? Man, obviously I cried with ease at this retreat. I cried multiple times, several times throughout the day at all sorts of different things. And it it felt like while I was there, I was stripped down of all of my identities, all of my roles as a mother, as a partner, whatever identities I see myself in my work role, in my social scenes. And it was just, I was alone with myself and my dreams. Like, what do I want for myself? That's really what this retreat was about. It was about getting beyond your limiting beliefs and really truly asking yourself, like, what is possible for you and why not? Why can't that happen? And it was really powerful. I have a highly suggestible brain. So it doesn't matter how woo woo or how out there some of these philosophies are scientific. And none of that was. It was not out there stuff. It was really interesting, science backed, cool ways of looking at things, but I get into it. I really surrender and I do the exercises and I do the journaling and I really let myself go into these things. And When you do that, instead of being doubtful, instead of questioning it, instead of being like, this is stupid, this isn't going to work, you allow yourself to really explore possibility and to really, you know, ask for anything. And while we were there, so many of us were just, saying like, why not? Why can't I have these things? And I loved it. I loved every second of it. I believe that I fully kind of came into alignment with my purpose while I was there. Like, there is no question I'm doing what I'm meant to be doing right now. And that is, inspiring other women to go alcohol free. But beyond that, and let's not, say that that's a small step, because that is a massive, big, huge, crazy, life changing step. But beyond that, the healing that can take place and the connection to your body, your brain, the new lease on life that you get once you are alcohol free, that trajectory to me is what I'm living right now, and what I am just growing at a rapid pace in my not only knowledge, but also my experience of trying these different things with my health, and trying it with different clients, and sharing what I've learned with others, and just watching people kind of grow. It's amazing, and I'm really, really excited about it. And while I was in Costa Rica, I really got clear on how I want to continue to grow, um, and deliver this to other people. Because what's amazing is that when it comes down to it, what they were asking us a lot was like, "Oh, what do you want? What do you want?" And it's not money. It's not fame. It's not, with Instagram and stuff, things get really confusing because you're constantly trying to get more views, and you're trying to like get your reel to go viral and all these things, and you get kind of lost in that stuff. But at the end of the day, you're just trying to get more eyes on what you're doing, because whoever needs to hear it, when it hits them at the right time and they're looking and they're ready, it's going to change their life. And so that's what motivates me, and I have to continue to remind myself of that when I get stuck in the like, "Oh my gosh, I need to get more views and I need to get more likes. Why am I doing this?" Um, it boils down to like me truly wanting to pay forward this gift that going alcohol free has given me. Um, and it's just been a profound growth and transformation, and it was really cool to get to meet all these other women at different stages of their journeys. Some were really new, some were several months into it, some were a couple years into it, and just seeing their trajectory, it's just really humbling. It's just watching just how much alcohol impacts lives, and then when you remove it, it's like you free them to go live a real life after that, and all of a sudden there's just no limits on their potential and what they can do, um, because our health is everything, and alcohol was just kinda squashing it and muffling it and stuffing it down. And so I have really followed that thread, the health thread of like, okay, once I've got alcohol out of the system, what's really the next thing that's keeping women stuck, that's keeping women in this place of like powerlessness as they age? And it's hormones, it's hormonal imbalance. And the fact that we know so little about it in this phase of our life, when it's the most crucial thing happening to our brains, our bodies, everything. And we're just kind of out in the dark, trying different things, trying supplements, kind of being gaslighted by our doctors. We're learning most everything online from influencers, people like me, probably. But I have actually dove deep, deep into the science. I've read a bunch of books now. I've done tons of work on myself and clients now, balancing hormones. And what's crazy is that I would say 90% of our hormonal balance can be solved with food. Simply changing our diet, and not like, hey, let's be restrictive and don't eat these things ever. And it's more like you follow the phases. You lean into these types of foods during this type of month, and then you scale back and you do more low carb eating and you do more fasting. And then the fasting piece is the other thing that I have become quite skilled at. And that is one of the best ways to balance your hormones and to heal. And so combining, the cycle syncing, which is following the rhythm of your cycle and changing how you eat in rhythm with your cycle, and then using fasting as a tool to heal, those two things alone can right size most hormonal imbalances and leave you feeling so much better. The biggest thing that I have learned, the biggest myth, and I even have a hard time saying, is that you don't have to suffer from PMS. I thought PMS was a given. I thought it was just like, yep, periods suck. The 8 days before our period are rough. Everybody can kind of pinpoint, oh, mine for me, it's day 8 right before my period is the hardest. And when I actually look now at like a graph and chart and see what's happening with my hormones at that period, that's when progesterone is at its highest and estrogen as well, but estrogen should be lower than progesterone at that point. And then they both drop sharply in the next couple of days. And it's that withdrawal of hormones that can be uncomfortable for a lot of people. But typically, what's going on there is that instead of progesterone being on top, estrogen's on top. And that estrogen dominance creates gnarly PMS for people. And what's crazy is that in the last 2 months, have had symptom-free, uh, like, luteal phases going into my period. So it's the 8 days before my period. Like, I normally get super sore boobs. I normally get really bloated. I normally have a day or 2 where I am pissy and, like, snappy at people, and I'm dissatisfied. I tell my husband, I'm just dissatisfied. And I even feel rational. Like, I hate to say that I'm irrational at this time because I actually feel really rational. I just think I'm voicing things that I normally just suck up and tolerate at that time. It's like, you know what? All month long, this bugs me, but today I'm gonna let you all know about it. And so I don't feel like we should apologize for that type of rage. I feel like this is the day where the truth comes out. So just either stay out of my way if you don't want to hear it. But I noticed it's improved significantly. I have been cycle syncing since last May, so almost a full year now, and I can't tell you how many of my symptoms have gone away. One of the biggest ones, I don't get bloated anymore. I used to be just bloat master flex. Like I was just always, and I'm short, I am short waisted. So bloating is, I have nowhere for it to go. I just looked, 4 months pregnant and I was just like, what is going on? I eat really clean. I was eating low carb. I was even trying to fast, but I would fast with no reference to my cycle. I had no idea. My husband's a big faster as well, and he was losing all sorts of weight and looking great. And I would like some days I could do it, and other days I would feel miserable. And that's because there's certain phases of the month where you shouldn't be fasting at all. I should have been nurturing and feasting and eating things to boost progesterone. So fasting at the wrong times of the month can completely work against you and you would gain weight. That actually happened to me. And I was like, what the hell? This is so uncool. But now I've actually really, really leaned into the cycle syncing. And they say the 8 days before your period, you should be nurturing yourself with lots of carbohydrate, nature's carbohydrates, not like pizza and french fries, sorry. But also resting. I now take my dog for a walk, and I used to come back and still, even for the past year, I would still be like, you know what? I could still squeeze in some weights or I could still ride my bike just slower, but I would still kind of do a little bit more than I probably should because I have just a history of just like obsessive exercise in me. And so I finally dialed that back and I have created symptom-free periods now. And I think it's because I'm not stressing my body during that late luteal phase with too much exercise. I'm actually just really, resting and nurturing. And I have felt better than ever going into these cycles. And I've even had lighter, easier periods. So I am so excited because I think I'm only going to get better at this. I'm only going to keep fine tuning it. And I'm just excited to keep sharing what I've learned with others. Um, so I have been sharing a lot of this for a long time, but I hadn't quite created a course or a program that was ready to deliver all of this good stuff to people. And I finally did that. One of the things I kind of promised at the end of this retreat was that I was going to put this into a more tangible kind of course for people. Because interestingly, although like I have all this huge background and a certification in getting alcohol free, it still intimidates people when you say, hey, let's work on alcohol, because people are like, I don't have a problem with alcohol. I don't want to give up alcohol, but if I say, hey, let's work on your hormones, let's get hormone balance, let's lose some weight, let's stop being bloated, let's work on that rage. People are like, yes, please, let's do that. But there's a caveat. We can't really work on your hormones until you get alcohol free, or at least take a break. Take a break from booze and let's see how you feel. Let's see how your hormones react, because alcohol is going to impact every single health system in your body, and most notably your hormonal system. So when we're trying to balance our hormones, if you're doing everything right, but you're still rewarding yourself with wine, it is not going to work, unfortunately. Alcohol raises your estrogen, it raises your cortisol, which squashes your progesterone. And that delicate balance between estrogen and progesterone is really what we're trying to fine tune. Okay. So alcohol is just not your friend, especially in your 40s. So, what happens when we age is that progesterone and estrogen start to decline. Perimenopause is technically the phase before menopause, right? And that is what I'm in right now. So, perimenopause can start as early as 35, but most people experience it in their 40s, and it can go on for like 10, 15 years. So, it is basically the slow decline of your estrogen and your progesterone. But progesterone dips faster than estrogen. It kind of goes on a sharper decline in your 40s. Your estrogen kind of goes on a much more slower decline. So that ratio between your estrogen and your progesterone gets bigger. The gap between it gets bigger. And that is where we experience estrogen dominance. That is the root cause of all of our discomfort, our bad PMS, our heavy periods, our insomnia, our weight loss resistance, our brain fog, you name it. Any kind of symptom women are experiencing in their 40s, it can largely be contributed to estrogen dominance. So I want you, and people get a little confused sometimes. They're like, okay, so I don't want things that give me estrogen. No, 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 no. We still want to nurture our estrogen in our bodies. And what goes on is that we have foods that can create what are called dirty estrogens in our bodies. Those are the kinds that kind of um, can create that can fall on these hormone receptive cancers. Or there are good things that cause good estrogen um, it boosts in our bodies. And so all of the bad estrogens are coming from our toxic food supply, from the plastics that are in everything, maybe the harmful chemicals that are found in like some of our skincare, our cleaning products, our laundry detergents, things like that, our bad water, um, and stress. Cortisol raises your estrogen, and alcohol raises your estrogen. And I've talked about this in another episode. The reason alcohol raises your estrogen is because the liver is prioritizing detoxing estrogen, detoxing alcohol instead of the estrogen. So that excess estrogen that you're getting from the plastics, from the toxins, from the poor diet, the body needs to detox it. But if the liver is busy detoxing alcohol, all of that excess estrogen gets reabsorbed in the bloodstream, further contributing to that estrogen dominance, all of those bad symptoms that we don't want. So estrogen dominance is basically in relation to your progesterone. So you can experience estrogen dominance even if your estrogen is low, declining in your, close to your 50s, or if it's just because it's in relation to your progesterone. So if your progesterone is super low in relation to your estrogen, you're going to have estrogen dominance. It's not, so there's a lot of factors here that could be contributing to it, which is why we kind of tackle it on all four sides. We go into it with diet, we go into it with stress management, we go into it with biohacking practices that are going to help you heal, detox, and restore your gut. So there's all sorts of different methods. And what's so cool about the program is that it's 28 days. We're going to go through a full cycle. We're going to go through every phase of your cycle with specific instructions. And it's not hard because each phase is short. You aren't in a phase so long that you're like, oh my God, I can't stick with this. It's because you cycle in and out. And what's great is that your body is it's matching what your body wants to do at the time. We are ideally suited with our exercise, with our diet, to what our hormones need. And so you are working with your body instead of against it. And you will notice it just becomes easier. You become more in tune and more in touch, and everything just starts to flow better because you are literally in harmony with your flow. And what's so cool also about this program is that we have been taught our entire lives to dread our cycles, that it's a burden. Even my kids, they were joking the other day. They were like, oh, I would never want to be a girl. I'm so glad I'm a boy. Girls have to have periods and girls have to have boobs and girls have to have babies. And I was like, wow, like the whole world considers those things like burdens. And it's truly not. Like our cycle, and what I will teach you in this program is that our hormones are a gift. They are powerful. They have special gifts, and when you understand it and you lean into it and you coordinate your life around it, they're going to make you incredibly powerful. They have gifts of creativity, gifts of focus, gifts of fire. And that's amazing. And then the ability to carry and birth a baby, that's superhuman. We're godlike. That's incredible. And so all of that should be celebrated. We should be proud of it. There we shouldn't be any shame around our cycles. And so learning more about it and understanding it and leaning into it is what this course is going to be all about. And I am really, really excited to share it with you. I hope your curiosity has been piqued. I know that most women are doing all the things. They're already trying the diets. They're going to their doctors. They're saying, what's going on? I'm still bloated. I'm still gaining weight. I feel depressed. I feel anxious. And the hormones are one of the major culprits, but the intersection of alcohol use and its impact on our hormones, that's where I need you guys to wake up, and I want to help with that part of things. If you can challenge yourself for 28 days to cut out the alcohol and to lean into cycle syncing, and I will give you all the tools. I'll make it super easy for you. I've done all the thinking. I've taken out all the guesswork, and you guys just get to show up, listen, learn, and then I will create a custom calendar for you to just put on your fridge and go, all right, I'm on day 13. This is what I do on day 13. And you can look ahead to the week ahead and say, hey, next week when I've got this thing, what will I be doing? And it will be easy, and you will start to feel better than you ever did. So this was what came out of my journey to Costa Rica, was just so much clarity around what I want to do and how I want to help women get to this place because it's it's really what fills me up. And the day I landed, I got off the plane and, I got a text from a former client who said she was 100 days alcohol free, and so was her husband, and it just gave me goosebumps and it brought tears to my eyes, honestly, because I'm so grateful that I get to do this because the ripple effect, not only in my life, but, the work I'm doing is truly why I'm in this, and it's I never really understood purpose before other than being like a mother. Like, yes, I understand the purpose of being a mother, but having purpose in my work, has really changed my life, and I could have only done that, um, through getting alcohol free. So it all started there, and who knows where this next phase is gonna lead me, but, I hope I inspire you, and I hope that you guys join my 28-day balance challenge. It's only $28. It's practically free. I just want you to show up, learn, and engage with me, engage with the content, and grow. Get outside your comfort zone. That is where all growth lives, and, I'm excited you're here. I hope to see you all in the balance challenge. Until then, I'm with you. You got this. Hey, team. You've just listened to an episode of Find Myself Free. And if some part of this left you wanting more, if your curiosity has been piqued and your intuition is telling you, yes, I'm ready for more, then check out the Brave course at findmyselffree.com. I designed this course with the exact lessons that led to my transformation. Inside the Brave course, I will walk you through the framework for changing your subconscious beliefs around alcohol, the beliefs that keep you craving it and feel like you're missing out if you don't drink. And I teach you how to adopt the mindset of a wellness seeker, not a problem drinker who has to change. I will help you get clear on what you want for your future self that is thriving alcohol free. This is the foundation to change your relationship to alcohol and completely level up your health. I hope you join me in the Brave course.